pledge to our flag, and Reverend Nathan Elliott will lead us in our prayer of the evening. Whoops, flag left. We'll wait until we get a flag. We moved it for a Valor program Friday night. I'm sorry.
All right.
We'll wait just a moment. Whoops. That's pretty good.
We've got that flag, but.
We do have a flag. Well, he's making an effort, so we'll honor that.
There the flag comes.
Oh, here comes the guard.
Right here for me.
Okay. Thanks. He moved it at my request. He moved it back, and I appreciate that. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the great nation that we have, that we are blessed to live in. And Lord, we thank you also for the blessing of the local community. We thank you for all those who serve to make this a great town and a great community to live in. We pray, Lord, that you bless these leaders as they are deliberating the various issues facing them tonight, that you give them wisdom and insight to consider the interests of the people and to be able to decide with clarity what is good for all and honoring to you. And Lord, again, we thank you for the gift of life together, and we pray that we would honor you in living it out here in Wilmore. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks, Pastor.
You're welcome.
Welcome, everyone. You had a copy of the minutes of October 6th mailed or circulated to you. Are there any corrections to be noted?
I've got a question. I wasn't in attendance. I understand we allocated 2,000 to gravel parking lot. Can you tell me about that? Explain what happened?
We had an agreement with council approval to use the property at Maple Street. I don't know the exact address, but huh? 105,000.
Yeah.
Free agreement to use it and to put some gravel on it and roll it and then identify it as parking, not overnight, for like late night, arts and crafts, streets on Main, old fashioned Christmas, etc.
Yeah, I was just surprised, and I heard about it through some complaints in that neighborhood and someone else in town that felt like it was just a bit of an eyesore to have that all gravel.
It's not all gravel, the front is still grass, and we're gonna.
It's a good sized gravel lot, and I'm just surprised we didn't have more time to reflect on what we could use. If we're getting what seems like an easement, it's not an actual easement, but the right to put something there.
Sure.
I think, maybe a nice walkway into that space could be it. Yes, parking is sometimes an issue, but we've been able to have the Arts and Crafts Fair successfully without the additional parking. I'm just surprised that the council and the mayor, that decision was just made that quickly without a little bit of consideration of all the different things that could be done with that space.
It's not our space.
It isn't, but we had a choice to put some surface over it, it sounds like, or to use it in some way that benefited the community according to what Brian Denver was allowing it to. It just, after I heard some complaints about it, reflected on it, it felt like
We have been encroaching upon his parking lot and actually blocking his entrance to his business with some of our events and some of our parking. So it was somewhat of a compromise to not lose that parking simply moving it over. I also had met, several times with, Drinklings and possibly putting a gravel road or gravel sidewalk down. If you get from the parking lot to the little pavilion, you have a sidewalk all the way to downtown businesses. So in trying to deal with some of the off-street parking on Rice Street and restrictions at the doctor's office that we can't use, it was somewhat of a compromise to find some space we can use. So,
Yeah, it's
I was
great.
excited, I thought.
It's a benefit to have parking.
It's parking
And this,
downtown.
and I imagine over time it'll begin looking more improved, because I know it's been rutted out a good bit, because not all the gravel was in when I saw it.
we
And
had
maybe in
rain.
the future, we can make it look a little bit more attractive, so that people can be invited to walk into a park. That's, you know, if
Well,
that's.
before they would have been trespassing on a private property, but now will become managed by the city. So they could get to the park across the dedicated.
Is there a pedestrian easement there as well, or not an
There's a
an
road
actual
there,
easement?
it was actually Myrtle Avenue is the name of the road, that's a road there, dedicated road.
But before this, Brian could put a fence up and said you guys.
He said no parking, Brian's not that kind of guy.
Right.
Brian was trying to help us.
I understand. I just,
I'm excited that we have it, I think it's a great move for downtown. I'm disappointed that people are disappointed with it. We did put some gravel down and we had 4.5 inches of rain. We didn't get it rolled. Now we have more gravel down, we will get it rolled, it will be smooth. We are putting some signage, we've already ordered some signage that direct what it's for. And there will be no parking signs erected on concrete for that to be, that's a business there, and it should not.
on his side, sure.
Yeah, his side. So I'm hoping that folks understand we're trying to help and not put all that on the street.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that
I
would be
think
on the
just
street.
folks in that community enjoyed seeing
I had
grass
one call
there.
me, I understand that, you know, but it was not all grass, as we know that has had poured concrete on it. And we did add some gravel to the poured concrete area, but we did leave the front in grass. It's about 65 feet.
Well, thanks for clarifying.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't there, so I just
Sorry.
wanted to hear more about it. Thank you.
It was one of those things I was excited about, I'm sorry we disappointed someone with it.
I move for approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of October sixth.
second them. Thank you, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm gonna move to, the item as it shows on the agenda. Council's just spent the last hour and a half, along with some of the directors of our, units, departments, reviewing the City of Wilmore Employee Handbook 2025 edition. It's an upgrade from 10 years, I think. And we have Attorney Michael Simon here with us tonight from the Kentucky League of Cities. He's not gonna take another hour and a half, he's assured me, but he will give a review, and this will come forward to the council for your action at the next meeting.
So, thank you, Mayor. Like the Mayor said, I'm with Kentucky League of Cities, and we insure the city for most everything. So, we have a program that's called personnel policy updates, and really what we do is we work with cities to bring their policy up to date and what have you. So, you know, we look at it from a liability perspective, due to the fact that, of course, we don't want the city to be getting sued. We want to prevent liability. We want everybody to make sure that the city's operating as safely and effectively as possible. And of course, we want everything to be legal. But beyond that too, I do this all over, so I see what everybody else is doing, so we want the city to get the best employees possible, and when they get great employees, to keep those employees. So, like Mayor said, I've spent a lot of time with Mayor and Lori, Finance Director, and City Clerk Donna, going through this, and really workshopping it and bringing it up to date. And so we just went through council with department heads, with all that information as well. So the next step would be that the council passes that probably at the next meeting, and then, it will hopefully be effective going into 2026. So, anything else, Mayor?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think the next item, has been circulated by email to you from Howard Snyder. Very good report. I don't know if anyone wants to speak to the trees, for Wilmore presentation. Howard's in Florida at a family wedding, and could not be here tonight, but he did send that report to you. On Saturday, will be our first tree planting outside, on these grounds. I think there's 5 trees going in, to kick off the 2026 tree planting. So,
I've gone to a couple of the meetings, but I just want to say I'm really impressed by what Howard's been doing, as well as there's a handful of folks in this room that have attended some of those meetings. Amy's been very supportive and very involved, and this is an exciting thing. Howard's getting those 5 trees planted, and he's got this vision of thousands of additional trees in our town, both on public lands as well as private. So it's exciting, and I believe they received $10,000 in a grant, I believe. Towards
Howard's initiative far exceeded my hope. I had hoped to plant 150 trees for 150th. He said, "What about 6,000?" Okay. So we're gonna have to get on the ball at 5 a week. But we start this week with those. And next item I'd like to move to is solar over Wilmore. And I think a couple of people here to speak to that. Dale, welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening. I presented a proposal last month for the city. We want to move ahead with our program or a project of putting solar panels. Have been advertised as putting them on the Danglass Pavilion. And this is what I was envisioning as a give back program to the city of Wilmore. Because I like living here and I want to help sustain the community. And that's what these are. This would be a long-term project with 30 years of production or better, with a very low maintenance. And it would provide the city with at least 17 to 20% reduction every month on their electric bill. And if you would know what the electric bill is of the city, it's quite a lot. It's something that's like $4,000 to $5,000 a month, maybe more in some months in the summer when the air conditioning is running. But so we're almost there. We're thanks to Lori, we have a financial statement where we have raised $35,300 out of $64,000, plus a pledge for the city of $8,000, and so that makes it $43,300. I know I have one more person in the community who's going to give a personal donation pronto. I told him it has to be in right away. And there is still hope that the Farmers Bank will give us a nice large donation. I talked to Mr. Marshall at the bank the other day, and he was very favorable. So I don't know, when you work with a corporation, sometimes the cogs work slow. So hopefully we'll get that answer by the end of the month. So the proposal, and I got something here today, that some council members and others in the staff kind of worked out a way in which we could move ahead. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer, but Daniel Weir is here also, who is Commonwealth Solar LLC, who we would like to see put those solar panels on for us. And so it would be a two-phase thing. We'll use the money we have, okay? So it's $39,000. We install whatever solar panels we can do, probably 50, 60 solar panels, I don't know, depending on the price at the time. And then we would use some of the money the city has pledged to run the conduit under the road so that we come into the city here, because we want the most ideal situation would be putting them on the Danglass Pavilion. It's a clean install, they're attached to the roof, and it will work. And we could put them on this roof here on the city. We could put them on the roof. And we might be able to put more solar panels instead of using the money for the digging and wires and all that. That would be my personal second choice, not my first choice. As I've been working with solar panels and putting them on roofs for a number of years now. And I just think that rooftop solar is better when you can attach them to the roof. Up here, you can put up ballast and weights, and Dan assures me that they won't blow off the roof. And so, yeah, we could do that, but it's really up to the city what you wanna do. So I make a proposal, and if you wanna make an amendment or whatever you wanna do with it, that's okay. So phase one, put up whatever solar panels we can. Phase two, then, after next year, when the city applies for their 40% rebate check, which they will actually get money back from the state and the federal, whatever forms we fill out. And then we take some of that money and we put up more solar panels later on next year. And whether it'll be the full 80, the goal was 80 solar panels, I don't know, maybe we'll get some more donations in between time, we'll see. So that's my proposal. Any questions?
Oh yeah, I've got a ton of questions. Well, he's smiling now, because when I met with you last week to talk about this, I thought we were leaning towards this roof. It's a rubber roof, right? And so penetration of the rubber roof is a
No
no-no.
penetration. Yeah, it would be a ballasted system. It's what we do on most of the work that we do. For those of you who don't know, my company is a commercial solar installation company. We do residential for our local community here, but that's pretty much it in the residential world. We do large factories, Amazon warehouses, things like that. Most of the time our installs are ballasted. We did one in a hurricane zone right off the coast in Texas. That's pretty normal. So the main thing with working on rubber roofs or TPO or EPDM, whatever that type of roof it is that we don't penetrate it. Keeps down the potential of leaks, obviously lowers our liability as well, and it's also the fastest way to install it on a flat roof. I think the main considerations for here was we mainly originated this program with a visible public project on the Dan Glass Pavilion. It does cost more to put it out there. It's more wire, it's more conduit, the costs are higher. So with the amount of money that is currently in place, we could put it on the roof, we'd get a little bit more solar, the costs would stay down a little bit. However, I don't know what to do with the fact that it was positioned publicly as the Dan Glass Pavilion. So that would be a decision for the council and the PR component of that. But as far as, no, there would be no penetrations of the roof itself.
But the cost of installation would go down, at the same time the cost savings would go up. We're gonna spend less to save more.
Technically, yes. I think in this case, we're not looking at spending less. It will be the same amount of money. You'll get more solar.
That's
So
what- okay,
the
yeah.
savings would go up
Okay.
versus the price, yes.
Help me understand the 40% and what are the
Yes, sir.
restrictions around that?
Yeah, so part of the Inflation Reduction Act was a IRA component, or an ITC is what we call it. So it's, and I can't think of what that stands for right off the top of my head, but basically there's, I'm sorry? Thank you. I couldn't think of that right now off the top of my head.
You're sitting behind the right guy.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, an investment tax credit, and that is from the federal government. Now, for businesses, homeowners, that credit comes as a amount against the liability you would normally owe. Obviously, I'm not a CPA, but you know, that's kind of how it works. It's a little bit more involved, but when it comes to nonprofits, government agencies, cities, city government, they have a newer program, or part of that was called the direct pay program as well. And the direct pay program is not a credit. It is actually a check written by the IRS to a nonprofit. So when we do churches or any nonprofit for the most part, including city governments and government buildings, they fill out the same forms. It is something that you guys probably haven't done before. The city would have to file a tax return. Very similar, it's a shortened form for government facilities or government agencies. And part of that tax form, you report a number of the normal things you would do as a nonprofit. Then you would apply the 30% ITC, or direct pay in this case, plus the reason it's 40% is there is another 10% that is included due to us being in an energy community. So part of the Inflation Reduction Act was also establishing boundaries where there are additional adders to those. So if you're a business, it only applies to businesses and nonprofits, not homeowners. But that allows you to get additional adders. There's up to about another 30% available on top of the 30%. So if you hit all of those, it can be quite a bit. But that's where the 40% comes from.
And am I are the same rules that apply to residential? In other words, do I have to have this all installed and working by December 30th?
That is correct. Now just to clarify that, the way it is defined currently, which I don't believe they have the ability to change between now and the end of the year, it has to reach what they call substantial completion, which means it has to be able to produce power. It doesn't mean it actually is producing power, it just has to have the ability to produce power, which in your case, that basically means it doesn't have to be inspected, and it does not have to be approved by the power company for the interconnection so that it can actually happen. So we can complete the installation on December 31st, as long as it's done. The second requirement for that, by the December 31st, is that all funds must be paid. So they will only give you a tax credit on the funds that have been paid, whether it's a homeowner or a business or a government agency or nonprofit. You can only request that, and you have to be able to show proof that the check was written by December 31st in order to make the claim on those.
So using Dale's model, if we don't spend the whole 65 and we do it in phases, the next phase will cost 40% more than this phase.
That's correct. Because that tax credit, unless something changes, that tax credit expires on December 31st for both homeowners and nonprofit organizations. Businesses still have a couple of years, but residential and nonprofit, it's December 31st as of right now.
At the moment, the most prudent move would be to put them on the roof and use all the money. And you'd pay it out this year, and you'd get the full 40% back of whatever we have. Is that right?
That's correct.
So,
The original project is for $65,000.
Correct.
So that would mean the city needs to come up with an additional 20 about.
If you wanna do-
Depending on how
if
much
you-
Marshall's gonna throw in.
yeah, if you wanna do that, that'd be fine. I'm only working with the money that we have at hand.
And I think the change right now that is, let's use what we have, get it done by the end of the year so we don't lose that 40%. Not saying, let's pony up the rest of it, let's just install what we can with the money it's currently available.
But you wouldn't be opposed to us ponying up the rest.
No.
We could still pursue the other funding sources that we're
And
working
about
on.
how much, if we added to, like, if we contributed an additional 40,000, how much, about how much payback we get or refund?
All of the original proposal numbers, as far as energy savings and things like that, were based on, it was 40,000 watts of solar, or 40 kilowatts. So all of the original numbers, and I believe the 20 to 30% savings is based on that. If we reduce that, that obviously reduces that return number. However, if we install the full 40 kilowatts, those original numbers still apply.
I guess I'm trying to remember what those are.
And we'll get back about 25,000, something like that, I think, with the original numbers.
40% of 60,000 would be, yeah, about 8, yeah,
But with a homeowner, the risk is how long are you gonna stay in your home? Because this is warranted for 30 years, is that what I understand or not?
Yes.
For a homeowner, I don't know if I'm gonna live in my house for 30 years, but there's a fairly good chance we're gonna stay here for 30 years. So
Yes,
there's
sir.
a better chance that we're gonna get the full benefit of this investment as opposed to an individual.
Correct.
So, you got an amendment?
Well, I don't, Lori's not in here, so that's a little bit.
Lori's here. Wherever the attorney comes from.
I'm back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I don't know what Harold.
Let me just throw a wrench. If we go over 40,000 of any funds from the city, we have to bid this. And we're gonna have to go through that process of several more weeks of that process. The suggestion of the group this morning was, let's spend what we have, which was 39. We can do that legally and move forward, install that, get our rebate on that, take that rebate and any other monies we get and install more in phase 2. And we haven't slowed this process, and we can probably complete that by December 31st. Otherwise, we probably can't complete.
One correction, Mayor, it actually would be 43,000, because we're not gonna spend any of the 8,000 under the conduit stuff. That will all go into solar panels.
But, okay,
If we put it here.
Yeah, on the roof.
Correct.
either way, we can't spend more than 40,000 to a single contractor.
43,300.
So however you break that out, I'm just
You
saying.
have 43,000 that.
Changes a little bit the dynamics of the
spent,
process.
But not all to the same contractor, is what you're saying.
Well,
Without bidding.
all right.
Question for you, what's the average time that bid process takes?
21 days to a month,
Okay.
gotta advertise it.
I wouldn't worry too much about that,
Okay.
because first of all, I don't know how much I should say, but, I'm gonna take a massive loss on this project. And it's fine with me, because it's a community, it's my home community here, I want to help. Prices have changed a lot in the last, since we, 14 months since we kicked this off. It is what it is, I'm fine with that. So I'm not worried about anybody else even coming close to the price, because they just won't be able to do it. And with that in mind, I don't mind taking it on myself to do everything we need to do to get ready to do the project while it's being bid. So if we can start installing it in early December, we'll still get it done by December 31st. So totally up to you guys, just wanted to throw that out there as an option.
Well, let me ask one more question, then I might be quiet. Are you saying we don't want this grant then, because then that's, we're gonna have $63,000 in our hand? We couldn't spend?
Don't want this grant. We get a grant on what we spend. We get 40%.
Yeah, but he's trying to get another $20,000 grant. That would then give us $63,000 in our hands.
We don't, okay, but you're gonna bid it, and as long as he's telling me that he's gonna get the bid, he's gonna get it done, but another bidder gets the bid, we may not get it done in time.
Can you legally require them to have it completed by December 31st within a bid process?
We can
Sure.
require that, but whether that happens or not, you're a contractor. But many projects have been done.
That's how much
I'm just trying to facilitate to get it done. But it's a council decision.
About how much are you expecting from Farmers Bank or hoping?
I asked them for 8,000, but I also put out there encouragement for them to do the full, $23,000. To do all the rest of
Yeah.
this, to buy all the rest of the solar panels. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
I'm supposed to talk to them tomorrow.
So, yeah, I might call them today, I emailed them, I texted them. Nothing yet today, but.
We need to get,
Can we,
So, I'll let you know as soon as I know.
is it,
Oh, you know who to call?
Well, I have a call from him.
Oh, okay.
And Lori got the same call from Dave Damon. Are you free for a meeting? We were approached about someone about solar panels, and we wanted to get more information.
Okay.
That's today.
Well, if we wanna bid this, what do you need from us right now?
Motion for where the money's gonna come from, and how much it's gonna be, and the amount you wanna bid it for. And then she will create a bid document for, local publication and set a date, whatever that minimum is, number of days. 21 days from now to open a bid.
Well, I don't mind making that motion. I suppose the risk is that we won't get.
Risk is, that's all.
And then we won't get anything.
You won't get anything. I mean, you're still gonna bid.
What do you mean the rest of this?
If you don't get it done by December 31st,
Oh,
you don't get any rebate. So you're gonna be spending net dollars, whatever you, the way you.
sure, but I guess I'm hearing from Dan, there is no risk
There
in
is
his
no
timing
risk.
to get it done.
I mean, to get 40% of it back,
Counting on Dan.
to save even more money every month, I'm just,
I understand that, it's just,
I don't know why the bid could not be written in such a fashion that one of the conditions is that the job be completed by December
Yeah.
31st, 2025.
yeah.
In order for the city to obtain the 40% investment tax credit, and if the contractor fails, that amount will be deducted from his final payment.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I can guarantee nobody else will.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, nobody's gonna meet this kind of price anyway. But
No.
in the, off chance it occurs,
we'll have a lot of bidders on that option, I can tell you.
Are you okay with that?
I'll be shocked if you get any bids with those
Well,
requirements.
yeah, if you had to pay the penalty, you
Yeah.
would.
And I just think for our residents, that's the best.
I 100% agree.
Dale,
Okay, I'm good with it, let's go with it.
and we're gonna put it here or out there?
I think we could just kind of leave it open, because we have a grant coming, and there may be some other citizens who might want to donate, you know?
Yeah,
City of Wilmore, solarize Wilmore on the memo, and then give it to City Hall. But anyway, we may be surprised.
to be transparent for everybody here, what Dan and I talked about, his two concerns would be this. Number one, we've advertised it to go on the Dan Glass Pavilion. So now we're not gonna do what we've advertised we're gonna do. And on the Dan Glass Pavilion, everybody will see those when they come here
Yeah,
to City Hall, and
It's-
if
it's
they're
a
on the
P-
roof,
good PR.
nobody's gonna see them.
good PR.
So is it better PR to add the $8,000 or whatever it is, put it on the dam? Is that what I understood?
I believe the price that put it on was 4,000 was the estimated for the conduit underneath the parking lot.
I imagine you've already taken this in consideration, like the lifespan of this roof versus a metal roof on glass, and glass.
Yeah. So I don't know the age of this roof. I mean, we kind of, until, I think today, that option was off the table. So I haven't fully vetted this roof as far as the age. You know, we need at least 30 years left on the roof, otherwise we gotta take it off, put it back on again, which, to be honest, isn't really that big of a deal, especially on a ballasted system.
It's not like the system's ruined, it's just extra
Exactly,
work
we literally
to-
take it up, they re-roof it, we put it back on. So it's not that big of a deal. The metal roof is considered a 50-year roof, so, and that pavilion's not that old, so.
So,
And support-wise, both structures are structurally sound, so we're not worried about the engineering component of additional weight load. Plus, the amount of weight is actually extremely small, it's about 1.5 pounds per square foot.
I think the location can be decided by Dal and Vince and.
Question?
Mayor.
Could any of the donors withdraw their donation?
Could see
If
that.
it's not
Talk
on the
to
glass
them and
pavilion?
Say, are you okay with this change?
If we change, if we make a change, I will contact them.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have to decide that now. We can't bid it
You'll have to bid it
That's
where you're gonna
correct.
locate
where
it.
you're gonna locate it. So if we're gonna do that, we need to decide that. I think the safest thing to do is put it on the glass pavilion.
I hear that as a motion.
Yes.
That's fine.
All right. To add the 20, to go for the 64, to go on the Dan Glass Pavilion, to bid it as attorney has suggested.
Would it,
Clean up the motion.
that or to whatever it takes to close the gap? It may not be a full 20.
Up to that now. Is that the motion you have before you?
Yes.
Okay. Question?
Do we have a second?
We got a
Yeah,
second.
Leonard
Okay.
gave us a-
So, I have a question about, so I don't know anything about solar panels, so as far as, can you vandalize a solar panel?
On a roof, it is difficult, but yes, it is possible.
I mean, is
It takes a pretty
easier-
big, it'd take a pretty big rock to break one of these. Is it possible? Yes. Is it difficult? Yeah, they're a lot more resilient than you think they are. We normally, so for this type of project, we're gonna use a commercial grade panel, which is glass on glass. So it's, actually the glass is made down in Harrodsburg at this time. That won't be the case in the future, because that factory is being completely moved to making glass for Apple. But right now, that glass is coming from Harrodsburg, and it is extremely resilient. Over the last 5 years, we've had a lot of hail here, including baseball-size hail falling from the sky, and we've yet to have a panel break from any of those impacts. Being 10 feet off the ground, it'll be pretty difficult for somebody to reach them. If they get a ladder, then yeah, they could vandalize them. Get up there and hit them with a hammer or something like that. Throwing a rock up there is probably not going to do anything unless it's a very, very large rock.
So, just, since this is pretty sudden here tonight, I just wanna make sure I got this straight. So you're saying that we'll get back 10% of our electric bill?
The estimate, the original estimate, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I believe it was 23% was the original estimate.
So our bill is
That
$5,000
translates
a
into
month.
somewhere around $600 to $700 a month savings.
That seems a little high to me, Dale, I
Is
don't
that-
remember off the top of my head.
Maybe, all right, let's say 500, because
I can get back with you with the real numbers if you'd
Well,
like.
we're about to
Be
vote in about
conservative.
5 minutes, so I don't know if that's
Yeah,
good.
I don't have them with me. I thought that was known, so I didn't bring it with me, I'm
23%
sorry.
Savings, so whatever the bill would be, it'd be at 25% of it.
Right. So, 500 a month, 6,000 a year.
It's about, no, it's about $3,400 a year is the actual savings.
So 8 years to pay this back.
Approximately, yes. I believe it was 7.2, something like that.
That's based on utility rates today.
Correct.
So if electricity goes up, the cost.
That's correct. That's also based on current rates. We're seeing, KU has already got a 5% increase this year. They applied for another 28% increase this year. It won't be actually given to them. We're expecting another 5%, but that's 10% in a single year. So we're seeing somewhere over the last 30 years, we ran the model on that from all the real data. There's a 323% increase over the last 25 years in Kentucky utilities. So those rates are gonna continue to go up with the data centers being built here in Kentucky. We expect an acceleration of those rates going up. We normally use 3%, which is extremely conservative. But you know, that number is gonna definitely be higher than that. In your case though, also don't forget to take into account that most of the money was donated. So it is a return on the community's investment, not money out of the city's pocket.
Except for the 30,000 we put in.
Right now, it's only 8, so unless it gets
He's
increased.
asking for 20 more, aren't you? Aren't you asking for 23 more?
But then we get a 40% rebate back on the
Correct.
total of the project cost.
And he's hopeful to get at least a portion of that 23. There's no promise of that.
It's
From Farmers Bank,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sterling Bank.
40%.
We've already got 8,000 into it, so 8,000 in plus whatever's here, which come up to.
We would have, if no other money came in, we'd have 28,000 in the project, a return of 24,000 on a rebate. As a net.
Have $4,000.
Plus savings there.
Is there other question or other discussion? Question of the council, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to work with you and continue to, get this, until we get
Appreciate
it
all
done.
you've done.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
Not too worried about that.
Daniel, can we see you before you leave tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Would you all mind turning these wonderful devices on in front of you?
They're on.
Or at least when you speak, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Next, James Zweifel, Utilities Director, will give a report.
Thank you, City Council. As you know, we've had an issue with taste and odor in our water supply. And just wanted to get you up to date where we're at with that. We have put out a statement that said our water's safe. There's been some questioning of that, and we've fielded lots of questions, and we've gotten a lot of assistance. First of all, let me just say again that our water is safe. This is a taste and odor problem that is considered by the federal EPA as a secondary standard, which isn't it's a guideline. So it's not something that could be measured from the standpoint that there's an MCL, maximum contaminant limit. We have brought in, we've always worked with Kentucky Rural Water, and they have assisted us. We've brought in a couple of people that work with them, and they simply do work with taste and odor problems. And I just want to assure you that taste and odor is something that can come many different ways. One of the biggest one is algae in our river, and which they get brought up to our reservoir. The reservoir then can have that in it. It's in our water supply that comes from the river to the reservoir, and we try to take that out of the plant. Sorry if I sound a little nervous. It's been very trying, tough. One of the areas that we probably have fallen short in is our communication. Just back up a little bit. I took over in the beginning of the end of January. At that time, when I came to the mayor, we had a meeting initially, and we went through some of the things that I saw that were deficiencies in the city, well, in the utilities department. And we made out a very extensive list and decided that we would just bring to you several of those things each year this first year. We've got great support from you all at City Council. And we have implemented quite a few of those things. And back up. Back to the taste of real quick. Okay, so those, we'll get to the algae. At our reservoir, we have had turnover. That's the other way that you can get tasted over. So that in the river and the reservoir, you got layers that are done by, just a simple, temperature. So as the top layer cools, bottom layer's warmer, you get an inversion, and it's just called turnover. So what we did when we dredged last year, which you supported, and we brought in fish in fall, those have always been our algae control in our reservoir. Way back, we used to use copper sulfate a lot, but that's what we went to try to get rid of that. We've got fountains in there that help with the fish to be able to have them do the algae control. So this year, we've had abnormally high temperatures and very, very little rain. So what we've always had in the past, anytime we get a good rain, you get a really good flush on the Kentucky River, and you move out all that's in there, and you get fresh water back in, and then that really helps move things along. So the algae then produces these things that would be the taste and the odor. You can get that from a lot of different things, these secondary standards. You got magnesium, and there's iron can cause different tastes in there. And like I said, it's not a safety concern because we're meeting all the standards that we need to make with what we're removing from the water, whether it's the turbidity in the water, and we're doing our disinfection, which is keeping anything that's there is being taken care of, so that there is no chance of it being anything wrong with it. It's kind of, we received a couple emails that had really good questions on there, and it asked about our testing. We are federally controlled. All of our standards come from the EPA. They come through the state. The state then can add to them, and they're the ones that watch over us. So all of the testing we do is given to us. I mean, we have to do the testing. We send all of our tests out to an independent lab, Fowler Environmental, they are in Versailles. Those testings then are sent to the Kentucky Division of Water. Division of Water then looks after that, and if there was any violations, would be notice violations be sent, and they watch over us. We are also part of the Kentucky Rural Water. We choose to be under them in this program called Compliance Check. So they do the same thing that Division Water is, but they're do it from the standpoint that they're trying to assist us in keeping our standards high in our water quality. And all that to say that we have people that are watching out over us. It's not like we can take any samples and do anything with it. We're not doing those ourselves and passing them along. One thing with this, we've always done with taste and odor, and some of you already know this. Taste and odor is everywhere, first of all. We have Kentucky Rural Water, Division of Water, the people from Division of Water Lab were here taking some samples for us, and they all have said the same thing. This has been a banner year or a bad year for taste and odors. It's an ongoing thing in any water system. You've go onto lots of websites from the different, whether it's Louisville or Georgetown, and it's almost a permanent placard on their websites about the fact that there's tasted odor in the water. Personally, I apologize that we have to deal with this problem, and I'm sorry about that. We have had this over the years. I've been here for 28 years. Every year in the spring, every year in the fall, there is some tasted odor complaints. This one is escalated because what I was saying earlier about we had dredged the reservoir, put the fish in. The fish aren't very large, and they have been to keep up with the algae. We had algae early in the spring. We put in more fish so that we have 70 fish up there that are supposed to be doing their jobs. And they have grown considerably, but the algae has definitely taken over a little bit in the reservoir. So what we did when there was a problem with the taste and odor, we could see, I got a couple calls, and we started really looking at the numbers in the plant and how we were treating the water. We made a choice then to go off of the reservoir so we could we have the option of running on river water. River water then it's not easier to treat, it's just different. You got rid of the taste and odor. And over time, we got less and less complaints or people calling in about it. And we're only talking 6 or 7 calls over a period of 2 weeks. And then when we were on the river water, those complaints they went off. They were gone. Within 2 weeks, we were not receiving it. What we've always done in the past, which didn't work this time, we will run on the river water, and then the day after the backwash, we would run off the river, and the second day we'd run off the reservoir. What happens with the reservoir, it sits there in the sunshine, and if you're not, right now when we pump into the reservoir and we take out the reservoir, you're always have some sort of supply of water coming through there, help it move out. What happens when we run straight off the river, we can backfeed for a while, but at some point it's too full, so you have to shut it off, so it's not going back in, so it has to then sit by itself. Well, if you're not putting fresh water in and taking water out, it sits in the sunshine, and it doesn't usually make anything better. But we needed to do that because we needed to make the better water without the taste and odor. So you can see that things get really complicated. The plant, when you put in one chemical here, it has an effect, or anything that you do has an effect down the line, which you have to do to treat the water. So, all that to say, our water has a taste and odor. The reason we can put it to the algae and the turnover is because the type of taste and odor it is. 90% of the taste and odor complaints are dirty, musty, moldy. Those are consistent with an algae event, a turnover event in a reservoir. So we're very confident that it is just a taste and odor event. Any questions from the council at that point on reservoir?
So what are we currently on the river or the reservoir?
We are still on the river, mainly because I'm a little gun shy to try. The second round of taste and odor event after that, we did our protocol, which was to bring it on for 1 day, and we immediately that evening got our first phone call. We immediately the next day went right back off the river. So currently we are running on the river.
So how do you get rid of the reservoir full of that water?
That is a problem and a thing that we are working on. We have several options here. You can wait it out. Algae has a certain amount of time where the daylight hours are getting shorter and the temperatures are going down, and it will eventually, to some degree, die out. We also have a lower intake and an upper intake. Because after we dredged, we went to the lower intake and we had made water, really great quality water up through July into mid-August, we stayed on the bottom intake, which probably in hindsight hurt us when we had a flip over because we were lower, so that the stuff came up quicker towards where the intake is. So if we go to the upper intake, The reason we didn't go to the upper intake to begin with is because the algae layer generally is on the top layer, so we wanted to stay away from that, so we were on the bottom. So, to answer your question, right now, we're still running on the river. We can use chemicals. You can use copper sulfate. There's a product that we've used several times, it's called Earth Tech, which is a copper that it adds, and it's more of a algicide. It works on the top layer, it stays in the water, and we can use that as one of our options. The third option, which all these options we have, well, let me finish the third option first, is we can dump the water. Just like when we did with the dredging, we can pump the reservoir out. A lot of places are run on really large reservoirs. We just happen to have a reservoir that's about 6 to 8 million gallons, so that is something that we can do. And those options, we are talking with Division of Water and getting their recommendations on what they would have us do with that. So at this point, what we're doing is waiting, and the temperatures are going down, and we're just running on the river.
Is there anything that you think we should have, ought, or could do that the lack of resources or money or support from council is keeping you from doing?
No. This is a seasonal event that honestly was escalated by the environmental conditions this year. Another thing that made it even worse is almost every year we get 2, 3, or 4 remnants of a hurricane that come through the Gulf or even up the coast. And what that does is that gives you a very large area that you get rainfall, opposed to what we've been getting this summer, which are isolated. We may get 2 inches, but it does nothing at the river. Doesn't sweep anything out, doesn't clean anything out. Those remnants are broad areas around Kentucky, and the Kentucky River goes up, turns brown, it washes it out, you bring brown water up, which makes it so that the sunlight doesn't come through as much into the reservoir, and you don't get the photosynthesis, so the algae doesn't produce and bloom as much. So no, this isn't a resource thing, it's just that we got caught a little bit behind. But we do have a plant to treat algae for taste and odor. When it comes out of the reservoir or the river, we use sodium permanganate. It's an oxidizer, and it deactivates in it. It's oxidizing any of that. We also use carbon, activated carbon. Carbon absorbs the taste and odor out, and we have gone to about what we usually do, which is anywhere between 6 parts per million and 9 parts per million. We went up to 12 parts per million, and we'll even try a little bit more. Carbon is very expensive, so we try to be somewhat careful with that product. But we do have, yes, we have things to do that we can do in the plant to try to remove it. And that's what we have been doing and will continue to do to try to lessen the taste of odor. So anything that we would do, even plant expansion wise or anything like that, you're still always going to be dealing with taste of odor. Louisville, for example, I know uses 1/3 of their budget for carbon is done in the month of September. So it's just, you've got to hit it hard with the carbon and try to take that taste of odor. And it is just an aesthetic. It's a secondary standard, and it is a taste to it. And it's not a safety concern at all. All right. Any other questions about the algae in the reservoir? Okay. There were some good questions people had sent in that I got, you had forwarded, had a email forwarded, that I just wanted to address a couple of those things, just because I think it helps clarify where we're at and bring back some confidence that we might have lost in what we had with having an issue like this that has gotten into social media and grown. And you all have probably received phone calls about, and I know the people at our staff here at City Hall sure have, and I apologize to them for that earlier today, and I'll apologize again. They have handled this wonderfully. First, before I go into some of those other things, when we receive any time receive a complaint about, taste and odor or anything about the water, it comes into City Hall. If they can't answer the question, it always escalates to, it comes straight to me. I make every effort to reach those people. If I leave a message, going to their house, seeing them face to face is the best way to do it for me. And, we try to deal with the problem as it is. I almost always, well, we always, I call Jeff Moberly, our distribution collection, and he sends someone out and they flush a couple fire hydrants in that area. When we send water out from the water plant, whatever we're producing, whether it's taste and odorless water, or if it has water that has a taste and odor, we pump into a grid. Once it's into the grid, that water can move around all over the place. So we have no control over that. So generally, it's moving out from the plant area, and our complaints, you usually can check them and see that they move until you finally get to the last people. But any flushing that we do would benefit everyone, because it's just water that's in there that we would want to be getting out. So we always end up, the standard procedure is just to flush. So we do a lot of flushing. It just so happens that this year, this event took place the week before we do our annual, semi-annual hydrant flushing. So which was this last weekend. And so that has helped everything dramatically to get some of the fresher water out throughout the system. One thing that the mayor and I did talk about earlier in the year, and one of the things that we needed to implement, we have never been as a department good at communication. Before I took over, we were not good at that at all, and we had decided that we wanted to get better at that. So we did post something on the website. We at least got our mission statement on there, and because that we are a very small utilities and we all have many hats, that was something that we never really got back to. And in this, if we're gonna learn anything from this situation, it's definitely that we need to communicate better with people in the city. And I've already been in contact with somebody that does PR, has done a lot of PR for some big corporations, and they're a citizen in Wilmore and want to help us, so that we will get that together so that we can communicate a little bit better. Yes.
Just a few questions.
Sure.
When you get that PR going, will that also include the water testing that you have done, so we can see the results of that?
Those, yes, good question. It probably wouldn't show the results that we get. I'd have to think through that one. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. We're not required to do anything other than the CCR, but anytime anybody wanted to see results, they can obviously give me a call and I can get those to them. It's not something we would probably post.
Because when, I was keeping track of a lot of the Facebook and a lot of the, like a couple of different sites, and a lot of them saying that they used to get, they've been here for 50 years, and they used to get the water testing sent out, but I know the postage is a lot different now than what it used to be. But if we can get, like when the water testing, especially when there's a lot of complaints, it helps us as citizens to be able to see the water is actually safe and we're not just getting blown smoke.
Sure.
Especially because, then the other question I have too, is that when you put in like the fish and everything else in dredge, how long does the copper sulfate, is it still in the ground that you're stirring up? Is that the taste of the water that we're getting? And is that dangerous for us to have?
No. First of all, we haven't put any copper sulfate in since.
But it was in there
Yes.
previously.
And that's where the dredging comes in. And that's one of the concerns about why we shy away from using copper sulfate, is because what happens is it does go into what's in the bottom of the reservoir. So when we dredge, instead of being able to use that sludge or that, that's brought out and be able to use it usefully on land, has to go to a special landfill, which is
Okay.
added cost. So that's a reason that it isn't just a knee-jerk, let's go spray the reservoir with copper sulfate like in the old days.
Right. I just wanna make sure, like, as you're dredging it, it's not going back into
No,
the
no.
reservoir, and it's not like, you know, going back in at all, it's getting.
Yeah, anything that would go down as a residual is actually in the dredging process is being removed.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
All right.
Yeah. And what does come through, if there's anything that comes into the plant, it's the same thing. It goes out to our lagoons after a backwash. It's the same thing. If we use copper sulfate, then there can be a residual in that sludge. And when we have it pressed, then now it can't be used as land applied, which is good, you know, use of that material, because it's, for the most part, dead algae and river dirt. Now it has to go to a landfill.
So there's no way that that taste is getting back into our water then when you guys are
No,
doing that?
no,
Okay.
no. Those are all, all of that is being removed. Correct. Good question. Anything else? I'll keep moving down my list, but it's okay.
Keep moving.
Okay. I just wanted to touch real quick on our operators certification. We are a class 3 water treatment plant. We currently have 3 operators, an operations manager, and the utilities director, myself. And we are required by the state of Kentucky to be certified. We take classwork to get there. It takes a year to be able to go to class 1. You have to work with the second year to be a class 2. We're a class 3, so you can get up to that, and when you're have your 3 years in. All of our operators are certified and at that level, or they can go a year one certification above. We also are required then to do continuing education, 24 hours every year. And we also have 2 people that are currently in what's called the Utilities Management Institute, which is simply a above and beyond type of thing to give training for them to see how the management of the utilities in a broad spectrum across the state. So our education program is high. The people we have working for us are professionals and do a great job doing what they're doing. And they all live here in town. They all have their wives and their children live here. I have my grandchildren and my children live here. So we do care about the water quality in Wilmore. I know there were some things that brought question to that, and I'm very confident that we care about what's going in to our water. That's why we do what we do. We live here and we do care.
You've been doing this how long?
28 years. CCR, there was a question about that. In 2020, we did CCRs when they got mailed out. In 2020, at the state level, they encouraged us to go to an online CCR. And Kentucky Rural Water immediately jumped on that, provided that for us, and then we had to put a sticker on your bill, sent it out, and it was, our CCR was posted there. After that, we, instead of doing the sticker, we just had it printed on the back, so it's a permanent. Every single time you get a monthly bill, if you flip it over, it's got this website to be able to go and look at our CCR. CCRs are done annually, so whatever was done, we made all the testing through 2024, then goes on to the 2024 CCR, and it stays on that website for a year until we do the next one. So just to clarify where our CCRs can be found.
What's
And
a
I
CCR?
do have a web page, or a site for you. It's found at tapwaterinfo.com/Wilmore.
What is a CCR?
CCR is Consumer Confidence Report, which we are actively trying to get your confidence back. Is what we need to do.
I think 2 big takeaways. One is that we're not alone in drawing our water from the Kentucky River. I mean, 1 out of 6 Kentucky residents depend on it. And
Sure.
you're saying that as you spoke with the Division of Water, other towns that were also drawing their water from Kentucky River were having a similar taste and odor issue. Second is, it has been safe water to drink this entire time.
Correct, on both of those, yes. Kentucky River, any reservoir in Kentucky, it's just the environment. It's there all the time, and there is no magic bullet, there is nothing magical that I can make it happen and say it's never gonna happen again. It's, taste and odor is there, algae's there, you're gonna have turnovers in any body of water. But yes, the water is safe to drink, and that's where we've been. Our statement we put out, I'm not a great writer, so, and you can tell I'm not a good public speaker either. But, those I went to big websites. I found those where they're talking about taste and odor, and I took this and took this and took this and came up with our statement. And I sent that out, we posted that, just, you know, so I'm getting all that to say, we're getting it from other places, and this isn't unusual to us, so.
To give a plug for Howard Snyder, his tree effort.
Yes.
We're talking about sunshine on this pond that we have, is more trees and more natural habitat around our pond. I know a lot of reservoirs create more shade and natural space, or at least.
And actually, that was one of the recommendations, from the lab at the Division of Water level, that we would have some more on that. We discouraged that in the past because when we let it grow up to some degree, we end up with the geese that want to go there, and the geese, what the geese leave us that flows into the watershed is not good either, so that's the reason we cut it down, but now they're telling us we need to probably have some trees there.
My question as well, Amy, is the catch
Sure.
But yeah, like what are some things that we can do to help? I love the fish, you know, that's just a brilliant and
Sure.
natural solution. Do you know of other things that other communities do, like planting trees around that can provide more shade, or something else that we can kind of?
There are
help as a town?
alternatives, management in reservoirs, there's actually companies that do that. Kentucky American, which is Lexington's water supply comes from Jacobson Park, if you've ever been out there, they have a very large reservoir. They actually, they hire an independent contractor which uses chemistry in the lake to control their algae, like a copper sulfate. I'm
They've
not
got a
sure
much
what
larger lake, but people paddle on it,
Right.
fish on it, there's a lot.
So it brings its own problems, you know, to it also.
Out west, they're using a lot of floating plastic balls, large floating plastic balls to cut down on the
Yes.
light going into the reservoirs.
Best
But
case
that's also not gonna be
scenario.
good for the fish.
Right, not good for the fish. If our $6 million holding facility was a tank that had a lid on it, you would get rid of the part of it. But
Not
it's
as attractive.
not as attractive, and it's not, and the cost is way out the roof. And then you still got the sediment that builds up, and over time it has to be dredged, and then it's even more difficult, you can't drain it back to, you know, yes, it's not a road that can go down. Yes, that's not gonna happen probably. I've seen the black balls that they put on the top, yes, not attractive at all, but it does cut sunlight down so that you don't get the algae growth. So, best practice for us is just, do what we're doing, which we kept getting encouragement from everybody that came. Anybody that came in over the last couple of weeks that we've talked to, from the chemical people to Division of Water, Kentucky Rural Water, every time they would mention something, yes, that's what we're already doing. So we're doing all the stuff that can be done. It has a taste and odor at times. It's gonna happen, and we regret that that's in there, and we're doing the best we can to keep it out. But the bottom line is that it's safe to drink, safe to consume.
I wanna be careful about adding anything else to your plate, but, also trying to hear maybe what those in the city are wanting to have is, like, would it make sense to, when a taste and odor issue is a potential, to make an announcement of that, or is there a rating on that can be given, or, I mean, I know that as I've been drinking the water, some days there's a stronger taste and odor,
Sure.
others it's not, but it seems like, my concern is, is it safe for me to drink, and I'm just gonna deal with it and put lemonade mix if I got to.
That's a good way of dealing with it, yes. But, and the truth is that, we need to get better at communicating. That needs to be something as we're moving into those seasons, we need to have something to standard that we put up. It gets to a certain area, then we can,
And I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like as better communicating, and maybe people
Sure.
from the community can tell us what they would have liked to have heard. I don't know.
well, just having anything.
And maybe you've heard
I
some of that already.
We put out a statement, yes, and then the statement didn't change, so we, put it out again, but then, Asbury College had gotten hold of us, we essentially gave them the same statement again, about that, and did, when they called, we did some flushing, when we get calls, we go and do some flushing. So, but yes, I think that being ahead of it so that we can talk about it, tell them it's, hey, we're noticing this, then they know it's not, I'm out here alone. Another thing too
I'm
is.
impressed by how responsive you've been, like, once you know that there's calls, that you're changing behavior.
It's
Right.
today. As soon as I get them, Donna, she calls me, I'm on it as quick as possible. And that's what we do, I mean, cause these are all people we live with, go to church with, and friends, neighbors, so we do care about that.
James, I just wanna say thank you for all that you've done. I worked with you for almost 16 years, and your team trusts you completely, and you just showed to us right now how much all of you all need to trust you and your team. So thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. I don't know how much more you want to hear.
I'll give you one community comment.
Sure.
I don't know that I represent the majority of people, but, this is an expected thing, like you said. It happens every year. It was a little bit longer this year, but, anybody who's ever mentioned it in my presence, I've just given them basically the same thing you said. So I think you guys are doing a great job. The odors taste is already dropping. It's almost non-existent at this point. So from my part of the community, I'll just say thank you and great job and keep it up. Though I would encourage better communication.
Yes, I'm kind of a dinosaur because I've been here 28 years. I took it as a great deal, pride is a little, I'm not supposed to have that. What's the right word? I'll go with it. Pride, I have a little pride in the fact that when, in the old days, my policy, the way I thought about it is that we were supposed to be out of sight, out of mind. When nobody knew the water department was here, that was the biggest compliment I could have gotten. Because it meant you went to the toilet and flushed it, you still had water coming out your shower, you drank it, it didn't have a taste and odor, it didn't matter, because you didn't even think about us. But that's kind of old school, that's before social media, so I need to adapt, because I don't want to be a dead dinosaur. I want to be able to do the right thing, and we need to get that, we need to get our communication down, so I'm committed to that, and I know my team is, because they're all younger than I am, so, which is good. I had other things to kind of address along this line, just things that people had written in about, but it's getting too long. But I do want to read to you our statement. This is on our website. Well, here just at our city website. When you go to utilities, it's our mission statement. And the mission of the Wilmore Utility Department is to protect the protection of public health and safety. We always endeavor to provide our customers with the highest quality water we are capable of producing, use the technologies in place at our facilities. We dedicate time to ongoing training and education for the improvement of both our skills and our product. We are committed to upgrading our equipment and operational skills for the improvement of the product we produce. The Wilmore Utilities Department does not accept minimums, we strive for excellence. I believe all of us at the city care about the people in the city. And we fall short sometimes. We can't please everybody, but we are working harder And I just want you to know we care, and the water is safe to drink. And we enjoy being here, and we enjoy working. My guys are a great crew, the guys I work with, all the people at City Hall, going on, but Mayor, I thank you. When I came on, you started having directors, all the directors meet. And I think it's changed the atmosphere here. I went here a whole bunch before that, but that. And from community development to Donna and Lori in City Hall, the Parks Department, to the facilities managers, the police department, the fire department, and Jeff is our Director of Public Works and Distribution Collection. And that group has really drawn together, and I think that we are all excited about all the things that we do for the city. Thank you very much for your time. Are there any other questions that I can answer about taste and odor or water?
The only other thing I would wanna say, because you said this earlier, right, as I understood, if somebody has a complaint, they should call me. You're not reading through
Yes.
Facebook trying to figure out what people are saying. That if somebody calls you, you're gonna call them back.
Yes, yes, you wanna get a response, it isn't social media, call City Hall. They will give you my number, and we will get hold of it. And that's another thing that I'm a dinosaur about. I don't do social media, so most of anything I've heard that anybody has said about us comes from somebody else telling me that they said something about us. So.
I think if you looked in the dictionary for the word integrity, you'd have saw it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
one more question.
Sure.
I'm sorry for this.
No, that's great.
So you mentioned how the kind of dirty, moldy flavors coming from the algae. What about the like chemically flavor? Because that's the other.
Good question.
Yes.
That's a good question. First of all, this time of year, we are required everywhere in our distribution system to have a chlorine residual of 0.2. So we try to keep it much higher than that because that's a disinfection that's out there to keep the water safe. So to do that, to get it all the way into Dix Drive and out to Lone Oak, down past Glasses Mill and everything, to keep that in there, it has to be much higher in town. We're allowed a 5.0. We keep a 2.1, which is about halfway there. When you can already, if you can taste it at 2.0, you can imagine at 5.0 or anywhere close, it's like smelling, when you get it out of your faucet, it's just like bleach. You're gonna get that smell.
It's like going to the pool.
Yeah, it's going to the pool. It's a lot of chlorine. So you mix that with a mold, or you mix that with a dirty, or you mix that with a moldy smell, and yes, it's not pleasant, and we got a couple comments that it was like I was drinking a cleaning product. Well, essentially, with the chlorine and that, it is a cleaning product because it's producing bleach. So, yes, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I like questions better than having to stand up and talk.
We're gonna take a couple more questions, and
Yes.
we need to move on.
Yes, sorry.
How much longer do you think it'll be until like everything's gone? Cause like even this morning I was still smelling a lot of the dirt. I'm pretty close though. I'm just down on Depot, so like off of Bellevue, so I'm pretty close to the
Yes.
reservoir.
I don't have a good answer for that, other than it will gradually go away, because by pumping into a grid, let's say one little part of water, or that glass of water, it could go up in the Asbury Tower and come back out. It could actually make its way out to the VA Tower, come back out. It could actually make a few loops around town before it ever gets to your house. So even though we flush, there still could be some water in a tower or in a line somewhere that'll eventually get moved around, and you might get that same taste and odor that came from a month ago.
Gotcha. So you can't really say in a couple of weeks it'll be gone, or in a month it'll definitely be gone.
Right, it's gonna become less and less, right, because it's moving around and
We're on the upswing.
yes, we're coming down, yes.
I have one final question. I've heard a lot of people express concern that there's going to be some kind of rate hike to cover the expenses that the city has gone through to try to address this problem? Is there funding available to cover that, or are we going to be expecting a higher bill?
No, there isn't, well, at my level, we've not talked about that at all. Anything that we've done, it totally fits under our current budget. I mean, it might have had more taste and odor, but our reaction to it is anything that we would have done. You know, like putting more carbon in or more chemicals in, that's all accounted for in our budget. So no, I do not believe there would be any reason why we would do that.
Our budgets are through June 30 of this year,
Yes.
and it won't change on that.
Correct.
Thank you though for those questions. Do we have any, reports or questions from the floor other than water at this point? Okay. Daniel, we do need to see you about writing a.
Yes, sir.
I understand if we get it in the paper tomorrow, it'll be out this week. We need to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? We do have sandwiches back there that we had from 4:30. They've been out since 4:30, but they still should be okay. The chips I know are good. Thank you.